No, I heard 50 confronted Diddy.
No, I think it was the other way around.
Okay.
But
Puff Daddy was there. So.
What did you confront 50 about?
I don't know. I don't like to stay in one place. I like to roam and just look at people.
Yeah.
So I was just roaming through the trailers, and then I just remember 50 coming up outside of Puff's trailer, and then but Puff was inside his trailer, so he said it to somebody. He was like, "What kind of money Puff said he was getting again?" I count that shit on one hand, man, and walked away. But I don't know what happened, man. I think I'm just really high. I don't know what happened. I thought it's all funny and sarcastic, and then 2 seconds later, man, the whole gunplay thing popped off. So I was like,
so what would you do if you was gun?
Okay.
You're telling me we got to kick it. He was like, yo, why don't we go shopping or something? I mean, I pay for it. And I was like, this just say.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy.
For years, fans have asked one loud question. Why does 50 Cent hate Diddy so much? This isn't just playful trolling or rap competition. This is deep, personal, and long-standing. Every time Diddy's name trends, 50 Cent is right there posting, laughing, exposing, and reminding the world that his dislike is very real. It started as industry tension, but over time, it turned into something darker. 50 Cent has openly accused Diddy of being fake, controlling, and dangerous behind the scenes. He mocks Diddy's public image, questions his masculinity, and even brings up old rumors most people are scared to touch, while others stay quiet to protect their careers. 50 moves like he has nothing to lose in. That's what makes it uncomfortable. What really fuels the fire is power. Diddy represents everything 50 Cent claims to hate about the music industry: gatekeeping, manipulation, and people getting rich while others get hurt. 50 Cent sees himself as the survivor who escaped that system. And now he's throwing rocks from the outside. This isn't rap beef. This isn't jokes. This is resentment mixed with revenge. And the scariest part? 50 Cent keeps hinting that he knows more than he's saying. And one day, he might say it all. When it comes to rap beefs that span decades, few are as layered and personal as the tension between 50 Cent and Diddy on the surface. It may look like a simple clash of egos or a competition in the music industry, but the truth goes much deeper. Understanding why 50 Cent harbors such intense dislike for Diddy requires a look at history, personalities, and business decisions that shape their relationship, and in some ways, the entire hip-hop landscape. 50 Cent, born Curtis Jackson, built his empire not just with music, but with attitude. He became famous for being fearless, confrontational, and brutally honest. From the beginning, he challenged the norms of the industry, exposing fake personas, hypocrisy, and the politics behind record deals. Diddy, on the other hand, is known as a master businessman. Sean Combs, aka Diddy, transitioned from rapper and producer to mogul, creating a lifestyle brand and empire built on influence, connections, and calculated moves. Their paths were destined to clash because they operate on fundamentally different codes. One thrives on street credibility and raw honesty, the other on polish, power plays, and image management. The friction didn't start overnight. One of the earliest points of tension came when 50 Cent entered the industry in the early 2000s. At that time, Diddy was already an established figure in hip-hop, commanding respect and fear in equal measure. 50 Cent saw him as someone who could be manipulative behind the scenes, controlling narratives and positioning himself as untouchable. For 50, who prides himself on authenticity and independence, Diddy represented the opposite of that ethos. It wasn't just business. It was personal. Things escalated when 50 Cent began openly calling out other figures in the industry, and Diddy's name inevitably came up. 50 Cent has never shied away from airing grievances, and he often did so publicly, while Diddy rarely responded with the same bluntness. The tension simmered beneath the surface for years, fueled by conflicting personalities and overlapping business interests. Another source of resentment stems from power and influence over other artists. 50 Cent has accused Diddy of manipulating or controlling talent in ways that benefited Diddy more than the artist. In 50's eyes, Diddy represents a system that exploits talent. It's prioritizing money and image over loyalty and authenticity. For someone like 50, who's built his brand on loyalty to his circle and honesty in his lyrics. That approach feels like a betrayal of hip-hop's core values. There's also the competitive aspect. 50 Cent has never hidden his desire to be the biggest, the most respected, and the most feared in the industry. Diddy is a competitor in every sense: business, cultural influence, and legacy. Even if they never released music directly against each other, their clashes are about control of the narrative. 50 Cent wants respect earned through the grind and the streets, whereas Diddy's power comes from connections, timing, and strategic alliances. That difference fuels disdain. Specific incidents have added fuel to the fire. Over the years, 50 Cent has referenced situations in interviews where he felt Diddy undermined him or others in the industry, from alleged sabotage to playing both sides of conflicts. 50 Cent portrays Diddy as someone who prioritizes himself over loyalty or fairness, whether these claims are fully accurate or partly exaggeration. They've cemented a deep-seated mistrust that 50 Cent carries publicly. Social media and modern interviews have only amplified this hatred. 50 Cent has a history of calling out Diddy directly, whether on Instagram, in interviews, or on podcasts. He mocks Diddy's persona, wealth, and influence, framing it as hypocrisy or performative behavior. The mockery isn't just about ego, it's about exposing what 50 Cent sees as the cracks in Diddy's image as an untouchable mogul. Every post, every subtle dig is part of a long-standing strategy to challenge Diddy's power publicly. At the heart of it, the tension reflects a clash of values and identity. 50 Cent comes from a background that celebrates toughness, street smarts, and blunt honesty. Diddy comes from a world where strategic thinking, branding, and influence are paramount. For 50 Cent, Diddy embodies a side of the industry he distrusts: polished, calculated, and sometimes manipulative. It's not just personal beef, it's a philosophical disagreement about how hip-hop should operate, who deserves respect, and how power should be wielded. There's also the element of pride and ego. Both men have massive egos, which is common in the industry, but there's clash in very specific ways. 50 Cent's pride comes from surviving and thriving despite the odds, while Diddy's pride comes from building empires and cultural influence. 250 Diddy's methods are often a source of frustration, because they clash with what he considers authentic and earned power. Finally, this hate is amplified by public perception and legacy. 50 Cent is always aware of how history will remember him, and he wants his critics and fans to understand why certain people, like Diddy, don't earn his respect. By publicly expressing his disdain, 50 is controlling the narrative, ensuring that when the story of their rivalry is told, his side is clear. He sees Diddy as a figure who uses manipulation and influence to get ahead, rather than authenticity and grind. In Part 2, we'll dive deeper into specific incidents and public clashes that escalated the feud, how social media fueled it, and the moments that made their beef one of the most talked about conflicts in hip-hop history. The tension between 50 Cent and Diddy didn't stay under the surface. It has played out publicly for years, sometimes subtly, sometimes explosively. Part of what makes this feud so fascinating is the combination of personal history, business disputes, and the way both men wield influence in the hip-hop world. By examining specific incidents and public moments, we can see why 50 Cent's dislike for Diddy has only grown stronger over time. One early point of friction came during the rise of 50 Cent in the early 2000s. As a new artist, Curtis Jackson disrupted the hip-hop scene with Get Rich or Die Trying, which was raw, aggressive, and authentic. He was unafraid to call out fake personas and expose hypocrisy. Meanwhile, Diddy was already a mogul, an untouchable figure with immense influence in the industry. In 50 Cent's eyes, Diddy's polished image and behind-the-scenes maneuvering represented the very type of power and control he disliked: an empire built on influence rather than authenticity. This philosophical difference set the stage for long-term friction over the years. Social media, interviews, and public appearances have become weapons in their ongoing war. 50 Cent is known for using Instagram and other platforms to call out his rivals. And Diddy has been no exception. He's mocked Diddy's persona, wealth, and public behavior repeatedly, framing it as hypocrisy or performative behavior. Every post, subtle reference, or sarcastic comment serves to challenge Diddy's untouchable image. For 50 Cent, exposing what he sees as flaws in Diddy's carefully constructed persona is both satisfying and strategic. It undermines Diddy's public power without a physical confrontation. Specific incidents have also fueled the fire. For example, 50 Cent has publicly criticized Diddy for allegedly interfering in artists' careers to serve his own interests. In interviews, he's hinted that Diddy uses influence to manipulate outcomes, favoring image and profit over loyalty or fairness. 50 Cent has painted Diddy as a figure who prioritizes his own empire at the expense of others' integrity, which clashes with 50 Cent's values of loyalty, grind, and authenticity. Even if some claims are exaggerated for the media, they are consistent with a broader narrative. 50 Cent distrusts Diddy and sees him as a manipulator. The feud also has a competitive layer. Both men are giants in their respective realms, but they define success differently. Diddy dominates as a mogul, producer, and businessman, leveraging branding, connections, and media influence. 50 Cent thrives on raw street credibility, authenticity, and blunt honesty. Their rivalry is less about who is a better rapper and more about control over the industry, narratives, and respect. 50 Cent resents the fact that Diddy can wield enormous influence without earning it in the same way that street-level grind and credibility are earned. 250. That power is unearned and frustrating. One of the most public flashpoints of their beef came through subtle disses in interviews and social media posts. 50 Cent has repeatedly referred to Diddy in mocking or sarcastic ways, calling out his behavior and questioning his authenticity. These jabs may seem minor, but for someone like 50 Cent, they are calculated strikes designed to chip away at Diddy's untouchable image. In the digital era, these posts spread instantly, giving fans and critics more fuel to speculate, side with one, or roast the other. Additionally, the feud is personal. 50 Cent has often emphasized that it isn't just businesses about respect and principles. He believes loyalty, honesty, and credibility should matter more than money or power. From his perspective, Diddy represents the opposite: calculated moves, brand-first thinking, and influence over authenticity. That fundamental clash of values makes their relationship more than a standard industry rivalry. It's a battle of philosophies. Another element that escalates the feud is the culture of hip-hop itself. Hip-hop thrives on competition, reputation, and proving yourself under pressure. For 50 Cent, Diddy's empire-building approach is frustrating because it avoids the type of risk and confrontation that 50 respects. While Diddy wins through influence, connections, and strategy, 50 Cent believes respect should be earned in the streets and the studio, not negotiated behind closed doors. This difference intensifies the dislike and fuels the public disses. Fans have also played a role in amplifying the feud. Social media allows followers to dissect every interaction, every post, and every subtle comment. Any perceived slight becomes headline news. And both 50 Cent and Diddy know this. 50 Cent in particular has embraced it, using his platform to keep the feud alive, reminding everyone that he is still willing to challenge Diddy publicly. Each viral post, each meme, and each interview keeps the tension simmering, and the public plays referee, sometimes escalating the narrative faster than either of them could alone. The hate 50 Cent feels for Diddy is not simply personal resentment. It's a combination of history, philosophy, competition, and principle. Diddy represents everything 50 Cent mistrusts in the music industry: power without earned credibility, manipulation disguised as strategy, and influence valued over loyalty. While both men have massive egos, their egos clash in very specific ways. 50 Cent's pride comes from survival and authenticity, while Diddy's comes from empire building and image mastery. The collision of these egos makes their feud almost inevitable by this point. Their beef has become a narrative in itself, part of hip-hop lore. It is fueled not just by personal disagreements, but by public perception, media amplification, and social media culture. Every interview, every Instagram post, and every subtle reference serves as another chapter in a decades-long story. In Part 3, we'll explore how this feud has impacted hip-hop culture, the artists around them, and the public's perception of both 50 Cent and Diddy. We'll also look at whether there's any chance for resolution, or if this is a feud destined to define both men's legacies forever. Over the years, the feud between 50 Cent and Diddy has done more than fill headlines. It has shaped how fans see both men, influenced the culture of hip-hop, and affected the people around them. By the time the public fully grasped the intensity of this rivalry, it had become more than personal dislike. It became a lens through which the music world examines power, respect, and authenticity. One of the clearest impacts is on public perception. 50 Cent's constant calling out of Diddy paints him as fearless, unfiltered, and unafraid to challenge someone as powerful as a mogul. Fans admire his boldness and commitment to speaking his truth, even if it comes at the cost of public criticism. Meanwhile, Diddy's image as a polished, influential, and untouchable figure remains intact, but the feud exposes the cracks beneath the surface, reminding people that his empire, while massive, can still be questioned. This dynamic fuels endless debate among fans, analysts, and hip-hop commentators, keeping both men relevant in conversations about the industry. The rivalry also highlights how industry dynamics work behind the scenes. 50 Cent has openly criticized Diddy for allegedly manipulating artists or playing both sides of conflicts to maintain control. Whether true or exaggerated, these claims show that hip-hop isn't just about talent, it's about strategy, influence, and alliances. The feud makes fans more aware of the business side of the industry, where power plays, loyalty, and reputation can be just as important as the music itself. Beyond public perception and industry insight, the feud affects other artists. Many rappers and producers find themselves navigating this tension carefully, either by staying neutral, taking sides, or positioning themselves strategically. For younger artists, watching 50 Cent challenge Diddy publicly sends a clear message. No matter how powerful someone seems, their actions can be questioned. That kind of example influences how the next generation of hip-hop figures builds their careers and manages relationships. The feud also reveals something deeper about ego and philosophy in hip-hop. 50 Cent values authenticity, street credibility, and earned respect. Diddy values strategy, image, and influence. Neither approach is inherently wrong, but when combined, they clash spectacularly. This collision of values keeps the rivalry alive. It's about more than just personal dislike. It's about fundamentally different ideas of power, success, and respect. Interestingly, the feud has also kept both men culturally relevant in an industry that thrives on attention, controversy, and narrative. The public sparring between 50 Cent and Diddy ensures that both remain central figures in hip-hop discussions. Every comment, subtle jab, or social media post becomes part of a larger story. It's creating endless content for fans and media alike. In a way, the feud sustains itself because the audience keeps it alive, turning personal dislike into cultural spectacle. Ultimately, the hatred 50 Cent feels for Diddy seems unlikely to disappear. It's rooted in decades of experience, clashing philosophies, and fundamental differences in how they view power and respect. The feud is both personal and symbolic, a reminder that in hip-hop, business and personal life are often inseparable, and that public perception can be as important as talent. What remains clear is that this rivalry has become part of the legacies of both men. 50 Cent is remembered not just for his music or business ventures, but for fearlessly challenging a figure as influential as Diddy. Diddy is remembered as the mogul who inspires both respect and defiance. A man whose power draws challenges even from those who admire his success. In the end, the 50 Cent versus Diddy feud is more than a personal beef, it's a window into hip-hop culture itself. It shows how reputation, power, and authenticity collide. How social media amplifies conflict, and how even the biggest names in the game aren't immune to scrutiny. For fans, it's a saga of drama, strategy, and raw emotion. For 50 Cent and Diddy, it's a story that continues to define their place in hip-hop history, ensuring that the tension, the shade, and the rivalry remain legendary. The 50 Cent versus Diddy feud is more than just music. Industry drama, it's a story about power, respect, and how two very different approaches to success can clash in spectacular fashion. It reminds us that in hip-hop and in life, success isn't just about talent. It's about principles, reputation, and knowing who you are in the midst of competition. 50 Cent's willingness to call out Diddy publicly shows the importance of standing by your values, even when it puts you at odds with someone powerful. For fans, this saga is a reminder that every action in the public eye carries weight. Social media, interviews, and public appearances all shape perception. And sometimes the drama we see on the surface has decades of history behind it. But beyond the controversy, it's also a story about two men defining their legacies in very different ways. One through street credibility and bold honesty. The other through influence, empire building, and strategic power. The feud may continue, or it may fade, but the lessons remain. Know your values. Stand your ground and never underestimate the influence of perception. In hip-hop, as in life, respect is earned, and 50 Cent versus Diddy proves that sometimes battles over respect last a lifetime.